closing everywhere. No country wants visitors. No islands are open to foreign arrivals.
We have to immediately leave. Where are we going? And are we back on the open ocean for who knows how long?
Okay, many of us cannot even imagine living through the start of the COVID-19 pandemic from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but that is exactly what happened to Houston native Angela Harger Thompson.
Well, what was supposed to be a 3-week sailing trip turned into months stranded at sea with nowhere to dock. Angela joins us now to share this incredible story behind quarantine at sea and the journey to a documentary about the ordeal and now a memoir. So, Angela, you are a Houston girl. You're in Orange County now, but what brought about this whole idea to get on a sailboat to Panama in March of 2020?
So my on-again, off-again boyfriend, he had a boat named Alchemy, and he was cruising around the Caribbean. It was his dream to go around the world, and he was like, why don't you come with me? And I was like, I'm not going to miss 6 weeks of auditions in LA. And he goes, I'll buy you a nice camera, and you can make a documentary. So I said, when do we leave?
Wow.
And I flew down to Panama. We left March 3rd, 2020. So it was a very normal world.
Yeah.
We set sail, and 1 week into that trip, that was supposed to be 3 to 4 weeks, we get an email on the satellite email that this thing called coronavirus has broken out across the world.
Wow. I mean, in this video documenting the early days of this journey, first of all, we just met. I can tell you have a sense of adventure because agreeing to go out to sea, for many people, they can't imagine going on an adventure like this. Then bad timing, COVID hits. Do you remember, or I'm sure you remember, can you describe to us when you found out the world was shutting down? What was that feeling? I mean, what was going through your mind when you realized you couldn't go anywhere? There was no country that would let you
back in,
like show up and dock.
It was surreal. It was quite the story. Everyone had asked me before I left, you know, what's your story about? What's the documentary about? And I was like, I don't know. So I just kind of started filming little clips of B-roll, interviewing the crew. And then this worldwide virus hits the world, and I'm like, okay, we have a story. And I just remember being stranded in the middle of the ocean. Countries were like, you're not a citizen of our country, you can't come on board, you can't come on land. We really didn't know what to do.
Was that like panic-inducing? Were you
it was
worried, freaked out?
There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of tensions that erupted among the crew members because we were confined on this 47-foot boat, and none of us knew if our families were safe, how we were supposed to get home, where we could even land, if we were going to be on the ocean forever. So there was a lot of uncertainty and anxiety for sure.
Well, you had all this footage, right? And you had been shooting it, and you didn't really know what you wanted to use it for. What kind of made you say, okay, I'm going to turn this into a documentary? There's a whole story here. It was exactly what you had, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a storyteller, and I was on the boat very excited to make the documentary. So when we, of course, had this huge conflict, it just made sense to keep the camera rolling. And we had crew members from, you know, several different countries. So it was really interesting to hear what was going on in their countries from the perspective. And if people were in quarantine, you know, we were quarantined on the sailboat. So we missed a lot of things that you guys were experiencing back on land, like the toilet paper shortage.
Oh, man.
We were fully stocked up on the boat. And it was just, you know, like I said, ever-changing restrictions. So we finally were able to land in the Marquesas. We arrived there after 26 days. We went on land for groceries and fuel, and then they said, get out of here. You're not our problem.
Wow.
So our crew left on another boat to go to Tahiti because they were European Union citizens. It made sense. They were allowed on land in Tahiti. But my ex-boyfriend and I were American citizens, so we had to keep on sailing all the way up to Hawaii, which was a 16-day passage, just the two of us keeping watch. He would watch, I would sleep, I would watch, he would sleep for 16 days. And, you know, every 10 minutes, one of us had to look all the way around the ship, make sure that there were no other boats we might run into, shipping containers. So it was stressful.
I know Derek just asked about panic, but at any point were you terrified?
Well, see, we went through 5 degrees north of the equator. It's called the Intertropical Convergence Zone. And if you've seen the movie Castaway, where his plane goes down and he's in the raft, those are the storms that we were in.
Bad weather.
Oh,
5 degrees north of the equator. So at one point we had an immense lightning storm, and I'm like, we're the tallest thing in this ocean. So I'm just praying that we don't get hit. Another time I look out the galley windows, we're completely heeled over 45-degree angle to where the galley windows are underwater.
Wow.
And it was, you know, I think before I left, I had prayed a lot, and I'd been like, God, should I do this trip? And I really had this peace. He said, I'll be with you in the night watches. So when I was in those moments, I was like, he's still with me. I'm gonna get through this. And I just chose to like be okay because I had no other choice.
Right, that is incredible, Angela. A harrowing story. It's a good thing you have a documentary because I want to know more. It's so frustrating we have limited time. You also have a memoir. You have taken this experience and you have something that's called the stranded mindset. You actually teach others in workshops how to kind of like move forward and kind of remain focused during really stressful situations. And it's, I mean, safe to say that like the silver lining is that you've been able to take something really harrowing and make something positive.
And we all have that capability inside of ourselves. That's what I help teach other people, is that I had no other choice but to keep moving forward through that. There were no flights out of the Marquesas. I had to go through that passage. And when you have to do something like that, you can find the courage and the strength within yourself to rise to the occasion to do that. And it's how you survive.
And on top of that, I feel like that also probably helps with some of your trauma, right? To put this behind you and sort of move on from it, to have it out there and for everybody to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, I believe so much in the power of telling our stories to help heal.
Yeah.
Our stories connect us to others. So there's a lot of different elements to this that I found incredible healing through getting to share the story, through the documentary, through the memoir.
I think we should unpack this a little bit more. So still more with Angela. Our conversation continues. We're going to chat about the personal experiences that inspired her memoir and also, you know, the way you've reached other trauma survivors, impacted them. It's incredible.
Houston Life will be right back with more. Welcome back to Houston Life. We are back with filmmaker and author Angela Harger Thompson, whose story of being stranded at sea at the start of the pandemic didn't end when she finally made it back to land. Yeah,
she turned that experience along with other deeply personal chapters in her life into a documentary, a memoir, and a mission to help others heal through storytelling. And in fact, I know previously we were chatting about you and the boat trip and the pandemic, but you actually had experienced trauma long before that. You were assaulted in Los Angeles by a romantic partner. And this was, I can only imagine, this was someone you didn't even really know. This was a temporary person you had met, right? How did that shape just sort of your direction in life?
Right. I had moved out to LA to pursue my dreams, had filled my Honda Civic to the brim, drove out to LA from Houston, and I got out there 2 months in. I was sexually assaulted by someone who was pretending to give me a job in the industry.
Oh, wow.
So it actually wasn't even a romantic partner. I went for what I thought was a job interview, and I was drugged and sexually assaulted. And I would come to find out that this is all too common in the Los Angeles area, especially in the entertainment industry. It happens far too often to women out there. And so someone who was very close to me during that healing process was this on-again, off-again boyfriend that eventually ended up getting the sailboat. And I think that I was so burned out from pursuing my dreams in LA and from just the work of healing from that assault that when he invited me onto the boat, I was like, absolutely, I want to go on this venture. And I said yes to it. Eventually, through the tensions that we experienced through COVID, through being on that passage, that relationship began to disintegrate, unravel, to the point where once we landed in Hawaii, after 49 days on the ocean, we did stay a little bit longer in LA, but the relationship was pretty much over. So I went back to Los Angeles, and at that point, he tried to come after me. He tried to say the documentary was his, and I had no rights to it. So I fought him for my creative baby. I said, no, I've created this, and I'm going to distribute it. And eventually I did win that dispute, and I was able to distribute the documentary Quarantine at Sea, now streaming on multiple platforms. But there was so much more to the whole story than just the documentary showed. It's really just kind of the structure of being stranded at sea during COVID. Right. But in the memoir, I really needed to tell my story and what was happening emotionally, spiritually, relationally during that time. And so one night he wanted to insult me. He was very mean. He sent me an email that he changed the name of my documentary from Quarantine at Sea to an insult that he meant to hurt me. But that's actually the name that I took, and I named my memoir that. And I can't say it on TV, but if you go to angelahargerproductions.com, that's where I have that.
Worst blank ever.
Yeah,
Yes.
wow.
You're seeing this close-up shot right there.
Wow, okay. I want to ask you, Angela, what is it about putting pen to paper and writing a story like this? I know we mentioned helping with your trauma, helping other people through their trauma. What is it about that, like putting that pen to paper and getting that stuff out that's truly helpful with recovery?
It takes so much courage to take those hard things that we've been through and to be able to express them, to write them, put pen to paper, like you said. And when we do that, the process is so cathartic. With every single chapter that I wrote of my memoir, a new part of my heart was healed.
Good.
And it was such a cathartic process. And I was like, I have to help other people do this as well. So I created the Storytell Initiative course, which is a course that helps people to discover what their story is, their individual unique story, because we all have one. I'm not special just because I was stranded in the middle of the ocean during COVID. You know, we all have something that sets us apart. So I help people discover that, their why for sharing it, and then help take that from an idea in their head all the way to something that is distributed. They're watching on the screen or reading in a book.
And abuse continues when it's unchecked, right? Like when victims don't speak up, when they don't share their stories, perpetrators continue getting away with it. In our final moments, what have you seen some of the folks you work with do with a microphone? I mean, in terms of sharing their hard things.
It's so incredible. I've been able to partner with a nonprofit organization called Wholeness Journey. We go to Costa Rica, Thailand. We worked in California with victims of sex trafficking. So with girls as young as 11 years old, all the way to 25 years old. And I lead them through a Storytell workshop where I help them again to put pen to paper, to voice their story. And I've seen such incredible healing in these girls and in these women as they get to share their experiences, things that we couldn't even imagine that they've been through. And they connect to their community around them, they heal, and it's so beautiful to see. So that's why I believe so much in the power of storytelling to heal.
See that light back in their eyes.
Yeah,
Huh?
Yes.
Angela Harger Thompson, thank you so much for stopping by Houston Life.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for sharing your story too. You were in a very select group of people who can say they were stranded at sea during COVID. And again, harrowing story. Your brand new memoir is out now. You can stream the documentary, Quarantine at Sea, on multiple streaming platforms.
That's right. Head to the Scene On section of HL website, HoustonLife.tv, for more information. Incredible. Thank you again.